we did have a little bit of an issue with the sound. It was a little bit like Norman Collier. For the older folk, they'll know who Norman Collier was. He used to sound like a broken microphone, but he'd make it sound like he was winding the window up and down. So I take it the thumbs up. There's a few that I have to look. My eyes are getting so bad. I really need to go and get my eyes retested because I'm having to go like that to read anything you put. So I'd appreciate if you could share this out, because I had a really lovely conversation today with a lady called Sadia, and she's an ex-Muslim raised in this country, who was abused in the most abhorrent way by her own family, who eventually ended up shipping her out to Pakistan, where she was then beaten and tortured and starved and God knows what else. It just doesn't bear thinking about, really. And she's done a video which I put out on my main page earlier today, because she's absolutely outraged and infuriated by the rape gangs, Muslim rape gangs operating in this country. Get your glasses on, woman. Well, I would if I knew where they were, Karen. The trouble is I take glass off, I can't see anything. So I'm just going to sit here blind, and if you say something and I miss it, well, c'est la vie. So she made this video where she called out the fact that the hard left do nothing but make excuses. Now, I've had this for 3 days now on my Twitter, where there's been a whole debate about the percentages. Because when you say 84% of the rape gangs operating in the UK are predominantly Pakistani Muslim men, and the victims are predominantly white girls targeted by predominantly Pakistani men, you've got these people coming on and saying, you can't use the Quillian report because that was debunked. Well, by whom? Who debunked it? It's all well and good telling me it's been debunked, but if the person doing the debunking is a hard left, socialist, Labour-loving apologist, well, of course they're going to come in and go, prove this, prove that, prove this. And even if you gave them proof, they're still going to turn around and go, no, 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 no. You are a racist, don't you know? I am so sick and tired. Now, it shouldn't matter whether it's 84% that are raping young girls, 50%, 20%. Shouldn't really matter. And what they'll also come back with is this, and I'm sure you've all had this argument. There are more white rapists and paedophiles than there are brown paedophiles. Well, first of all, it's a little bit racist of the hard left to come out with that comment, because Muslims come in every colour. But of course, we can't say that. To say that is racist. But it's the truth. Secondly, it's all well and good saying they come in every creed and every colour and there are more white rapists. Of course there are more white rapists. This is a majority white country, right? Now, I put an article out, and it always beggars belief when they say to me, you only focus on the Muslim or the Asian rape gangs. Hold on a minute. I shared an article on my Twitter about white men from this country going out to, I think it was Gambia, and paying £2 to rape children. My point to the hard left is you only focus on the bits that you want to be offended by, and you ignore anything else that I share, because that doesn't fit your narrative of hate towards me and anybody else like me who dares to use the word Muslim when we're talking about rape gangs. So that's point one. Point two, the modus operandi of these particular rape gangs is not the same. These men who are going out to Gambia, they're going out there and they're paying £2 to rape children. They don't meet up with their uncles and their brothers and their cousins and take it in turns raping that child. White men who target innocent children, and they are as abhorrent as any other rapist. There very rarely is there any form of friend or relative. I can't say never because that would be a lie. I'm sure that that has happened. But very rarely does it involve uncles, brothers and cousins. When it comes to rape gangs of predominantly Pakistani Muslim men, it has and does very often involve uncles, brothers, cousins, friends, and their uncles and their brothers and their cousins. The modus operandi is different. Whether the left like this or not, I don't care. If this offends you on the left, I don't care. I'm offended when young girls are raped. The outrage is in the wrong place. You're outraged at me because I'm telling you something, but you're not outraged by the act. Now, one particular girl that had come on said she was a victim of a rape gang herself. And I'm not going to dispute that, because if she says that happened, then I, of course, believe that. But still wanted to attack me when I pointed out that whether we like it or not, there is a rape culture happening in this country where girls are targeted purely for being white working class girls. Now, what was interesting about Sadia, and we had a really lovely, lengthy conversation. She's an absolutely lovely woman. I say girl, she's 30, but hey, I'm 52. She's a girl to me. And what I loved about her is that she's calling out the Pakistani community as a Pakistani girl herself because of the failure to address this very real issue. And there were conversations that we had, and obviously I will never breach anybody's confidentiality, but I can speak about the generalised things that I've come across of girls that I've met. And as I said to her, I do help Muslim women, because Muslim women are victims too. Many Muslim girls are also victims. Young Muslim girls who don't toe the proverbial line, for example, that are classed as too westernised, too, in their words, British, are equally abused. And they don't have a voice either. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely sick to the teeth of people thinking that just because you are calling something out, they think it's okay to come on and make every conceivable fucking excuse. There is no excuse. And nobody is afraid to talk about white men raping those children in Gambia. Nobody was afraid to condemn the likes of Jimmy Savile or Stuart Hall. Nobody was afraid to condemn the BBC for covering it up. Nobody was afraid of calling out the likes of Cyril Sodding Smith. But don't say Muslim, because that's the offensive part. How dare you? How dare you use that title? But as I've said to them, there were men that raped those girls who told them themselves that it was their religious right. That's not my word. That's the rapist's word. Take it up with them, and then they'll say, but he wasn't a practicing one, not a real Muslim, got a practicing Muslim, right? Now this is a favourite of the left. So my argument is very simple, and I don't care if you're left or if you are a Muslim. How about then that you demand that when you are arrested and tried, if you are a practicing Muslim man, and the Muslim community are saying you are no longer recognised as a Muslim, why aren't you calling for Muslims arrested and charged and found guilty of this crime? Why aren't you calling for them to have their religious rights to practice their faith removed from them? Because when they go to prison, they get an imam, a Quran, a prayer mat. I don't want to point out the obvious here, but I'm saying that makes you a practicing Muslim. The same as if somebody asked for a Bible and to see the vicar, I'd say, you're a Christian. If they turn around and say, shove your Bible up your backside, shove your Torah up your backside, shove your Quran up your backside, I don't believe in any God, they're an atheist. I have no issue if somebody says to me, this man here raped a child and he's an atheist, I'd say, absolutely. I'm happy to call that out. I will call out the Catholic priest. Well, wasn't he not a practicing Catholic at the time that he was raping those little boys at the altar? Still a Catholic priest at the time, though, wasn't he? I will make no exception to the rule for anybody. I don't care who it is. And if that offends people, be offended. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm offended by rape gangs. Rapists offend me. I know, as somebody who has had to find ways in my life to survive it, that it devastates families and lives. And some people don't have the strength to come through the other side. I am so sick and tired. All I want people on the left to do is be fair. You want to throw at me, there's more white paedophiles? I'll go, yes, you're absolutely 100% correct. I agree. And there's more white men go out to so-and-so. Yes, I'd agree. Well, the Catholic priest, I agree. Me. But Muslim men are out there telling girls and operating gangs, passing them around themselves. You're an Islamophobe. You're racist. You dare say that? How can you say such a horrendous thing? Are you going to blame the whole white community for those white men? I don't blame the whole Pakistani Muslim community for what these men have done. You assume that's what I say. That's your assumption. It's not a statement of fact. Half of you on the hard left wouldn't know fact if it jumped up and bit you on your very unattractive, unwashed arse. Facts don't sit well with you. Facts offend. You're very good at throwing the facts out there. Not a shit at taking them though. I'm so sick of it. And I have to say, fair play to Sadia for addressing this issue. I absolutely 100% tip my hat to the young lady. And it was so nice to have a conversation with her. And to realise there are so many people out there that do understand that. Even people like Manwar Ali, who's an extra from the 80s, never harmed any of our forces, never harmed the hair of any Muslims. It was when Muslims were killing Muslims back in that era. Who goes out there and talks to the Muslim community to say there is a problem here. There's a problem with extremists. There's a problem with these rape gangs. I applaud that. But don't turn around and tell me I'm racist because I'm the wrong colour to be talking about it. Because that's what you're really saying. And never what's spoken in this. The left, the hard left, act like masters to slaves. Their attitude is, you can't speak yourself, We must come speak for you. You stand in the back. Well, we are raised on your behalf because we own you. That's the truth of it. And Sadia's had a really interesting story. She was very much left-wing, involved with all of the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that, and has moved away and has had to face that what she thought was true. Well, I applaud that. That takes courage to do that. It takes real courage, and I have nothing but the utmost respect and admiration for doing that. But the minute you do, as I said, they'll turn on you. They'll turn on you. Believe you. And it's staying within our own so-called group. Within you've got those who, I'm centre right? I'm neither left nor right. I'm very centre right leaning. Not than anything. But you do have the hard far right out there. They do exist. They're very real. They're very small in number. But if you keep screaming racist at people, which is what the media has done, the BBC has done, government has done it, MPs do it all the time, it's like taking a child and saying to that child every day, from the minute he starts school to the year he leaves school, you're bad. You're nothing. You'll never be anything. You're evil. You'll amount to nothing. You'll be out there being a drunk, a junkie, a waste of space. He's going to do one or two things. He's either going to set out to prove you wrong. We're going to be exactly what you told me he is. We scream racist people because they have concerns of these sorts of things, and you want to go racist instead of far right, Nazi, fascist, bigot. You're going to create a hard, extreme far right. You will create racism where we had all but squashed the extreme racism that we once had in this country. Now, some racism never took place, but the way that it was, no. No, we moved well away from that. So, that's my rant over with. I'm going to be doing some things with Sadia, and I've also asked her if she would very kindly write a short blog about her life and her experience. And once I get that, I'll pop that up onto the Maria's website and share it out. But the left need to understand they are a part of the problem. They are not a part of the solution. Not now, and not ever. And until they literally take their blinkers off, pick themselves up and stop trying to be superior to people, because that's what this amounts to. They think they're better than anybody else. And a lot of them are your middle class. You know, the ones that mummy and daddy has paid for to go to university. The ones that mummy and daddy have paid for their new car and their insurance. And they're very well looked after, don't you know? They're the ones out there screaming racist at anyone. You know, those little privileged fuckers. Sorry, I shouldn't have sworn. But it's no good you saying fix the sound, because I can't do anything about the sound, I'm afraid. There's absolutely nothing I can do. If it's my computer, then maybe I need a new one. But I've got the guy for today. I don't really know what's going on with my sound, if I'm honest. So I can only apologise. But anyway, hopefully it'll sort itself out when it goes on the page. But if it doesn't, say la vie. Fingers crossed it will. We'll see. It could even be that they've done an update on this live thingy and I can't figure out how it works. Maybe it's the blonde in me. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm absolutely shattered. And I've got to pick the other half up from the airport yet. Be good. Stay safe. Have a fab weekend.